Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another play with our beautiful Beach Huts papers. So hopefully you've all managed to download them and things from my website now, and you know, we can have a bit of fun together. Just, you know, creating and doing a little project together. Of course, you don't have to follow my project. You know, you can use the papers exactly as you wish. So this is just a little suggestion that we're doing here. So I'll just show you kind of what we've got to so far. Is obviously we have assembled our little like folio type piece just using these like I guess they're like legal size envelopes, and we have then popped one in the middle as a kind of extra flap there, and all we've done is started sticking on our decorative papers. Now yesterday or in the earlier video, I don't know how these will be uploaded, it depends how long each of them are. I think yesterday's actually wasn't that long, so I may upload even a couple in a day, because obviously, you know, probably lots of people are bored, you know, I'm sure myself included, once you know, after the homeschooling finishes in the afternoon, then I will probably be you know, looking for things to entertain myself and amuse myself with as well. So anyway, enough waffling. So as you can see, I've got just a like overhang there of the paper, and what I thought I'm going to do is just trim this down just like we have done in the past, making those Crafty Cat pockets, envelope pockets. So we just, you know, go straight along the side like that. And then you've got obviously, you know, a really good size pocket in the centre of your folio, which, you know, is really handy. So we obviously want to cover this side now, which again, I'm just going to pull in some of the decorative papers. And I mean, I've said this all along, I'm really not concentrating too, or, you know, worrying too much which page I pull in. I'm just grabbing, you know, any page really. I'm going to go for this one, I think, actually here. So I'm just going to pop that down, and then all I'm going to do now is just, you know, I like to do this type of thing to just give me a guide of the sort of size that I need to cut my paper. Again, that's just my method. I am not saying that anybody else would necessarily find that the best way, but that's how I quite like to do it. So I'm just going to cut down the side. Oops. I was so close to the edge, my scissors just sort of pinged off, and now there we go. So we just trim that down, and then we're just going to pop that on to there like that. So I did finally remember to do what lots of people had suggested, because I suddenly thought, oh, I've got an open glue downstairs. I keep like a bunch of stuff down the side of the sofa for when we're watching TV and things that I can do more crafting. So I had a glue down there that was open and, you know, had a successful tip. So I thought, oh, I will just swap the tips over. So that's what I've done. So hopefully I'm not going to have too many glue issues today. Hopefully we're just going to be able to craft with no glue issues, but who knows. Okay, so we just then plenty of glue, and we're just going to pop that down on the page. So if you've downloaded the papers and you're crafting along, I hope that you're, you know, having a good time. I hope you're enjoying the papers. They're really, you know, I think pretty summery colours, and you know, really nice and cheery. So just what we hopefully all need at the moment. So there we go. Oops, I must need to put some more glue on here. I mean, I said before, but I mean, sometimes when you've coffee dyed the pages, they do go quite curly, and that's what's happening here. I mean, obviously they've been ironed, but you know, they do like to curl up, particularly if it's thicker. So these have been printed on, I think it was 160 GSM, so it's not like it's copy paper thickness. And again, you know, that just happens to be the paper I printed these on. But I'm sure that the copy paper would actually work fine for this project, you know, where you're just covering over your envelopes. I think the copy paper would be absolutely fine. You know, maybe not for your flip outs and things, but well, even those actually, I think lots of people do still use the copy paper thickness. I mean, personally, I'm just not great because I tend to then damage the paper if it's, you know, a bit on the thin side. I'm likely to damage it because I'm quite heavy-handed, but yeah, that's just me. So that's that one. And then we've got obviously the front and the back covers. I haven't decided yet which will be the front and which will be the back. Well, let's have this at the moment. Let's have this as the front, but obviously we might change our mind further in. So again, I'm just going to now cover my entire thing. So again, I'm just going to, you know, snip that down, or, you know, fold that over so as I get an idea of where I need to cut that to, like that. Okay. So I hope everyone's staying safe, staying well, staying indoors. You know, hopefully we're all just having some nice times in crafting. So I can hear my son. He's on the phone to his work at the moment to just find out really what the update is, because he does work for like an essential service provider. The only thing is he doesn't drive, so what's happening is obviously his colleague has to pick him up each day in the van, you know, and then they drive to wherever they're going. So I think it was flagged up that obviously that's not really very sensible, you know, with the social distancing. So I think he's waiting to hear what the situation is with that. Right, now I'm just going to again open this flap exactly as we did with the other one, like the Crafty Cat thing again. So we've got then, you know, multiple flaps. I don't know whether I've quite got that in there. I might not have sliced that envelope open quite there. I'll just cut that in slightly more. Okay. So then we've got, you know, another big pocket. So we've got lots of pockets already going on in here, which is, you know, awesome. You can never have enough pockets, can you? So we're just going to then pop this on, you know, what is effectively going to be the cover. So again, just take your glue and just then just go, you know, as close as you can to the edges, and then quite a bit in the middle. I mean, obviously, when I say quite a bit, nothing like what we have had, obviously, when I was having my glue issues. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to pop that on there. So, I mean, again, you know, I've not been too fussy with those papers. So if you're actually doing the same project as me, it doesn't matter which papers you choose to use. I mean, you may choose to use one of the ones with the more blue effect. You know, you might choose to use the one with the more, you know, this colour. You know, completely up to you. You don't have to be following exactly what I'm doing. I literally just really was looking for one that was not too curly, you know, that I hoped would stick down quite well. So that was kind of more my guide rather than the which paper I fancied. So yeah, don't feel that you have to do it identical or anything like that. You really don't. Okay, so that's that one. So I'm just going to now turn that over. Okay, so then what we've got here is another similar situation going on this side. So all I'm going to do is, again, just like we did on the other side, I think, in that I might reinforce this with that other bit of Tyvek because I want to make sure this is, you know, really strong. Again, if you haven't got the Tyvek, I mean, it's really not essential. I literally have only just bought it recently. So, you know, I managed for all those years, you know, like 3 years or whatever of doing journals. It's not quite 3 years, but, you know, coming up to 3 years without Tyvek. So if you have not got that, please don't worry. You can reinforce this with fabric. You can reinforce it with book page. You could reinforce it with scrapbook paper, scraps of paper, another envelope. You know, you really don't have to have that Tyvek. So please don't feel that that's an essential thing. It's really not. I'm just using it because, of course, you know, I've bought it, so I'm going to now use it. You know, and I'm just kind of experimenting with it and, you know, seeing what I think really to it. So, yeah, please don't... Oh, gosh, now I've cut it too short. Look at that. What a wally. Right. Let's just cut another strip. Okay, so I'm just going to ink this up, I think, before I stick it down this time. Because my piece is getting quite fat, it might just be easier, because otherwise I'm straight away sort of bending it backwards on that lumpy bit. So I'm just going to ink it up first, like that. Okay. And again, you know, it doesn't matter at all because no one really is going to see this too much. So, you know, don't worry too much about it. So we just now pop that down. Oops. Okay, please excuse my head. I'm just going to kind of have to lean in a bit to try and get it as close to that edge as I could. And then we're just going to pop that down like that. Again, just going to press that down. And then I've just got this extra piece here, which, you know, I misjudged with the cutting. So actually I'm going to use this one because then I will have less of that blue to hide and disguise. So again, we'll just, come on. Oops, my tummy's rumbling. Okay, so we just pop that on there like that. Okay, double thickness there, that is, because it's kind of overlapped. So again, then I'm just going to check that that's still, you know, nice for folding over. Okay, so that's that piece. So now we can just obviously cover that. So again, I'm just pulling in any of my sheets. Now, the other thing that you could do is mix this up with like some book page or some sheet music. So I'm just having a look. Again, through my big pile of junk. So I'm just going to pull in the sheet music and just see whether I think that would look kind of cool with these papers, or whether actually book page might be quite nice to use. So just bear with me for a moment while I find some book page. Hold on. Okay. Right. I've got some book page here. It's quite quite a small book actually, so it's not really going to be long enough for the envelopes, but I mean it doesn't matter too much because we could always then, you know, incorporate pockets and things like that, which might be quite good. Do you know, I might do that. I think that might be quite a nice way to mix it up. So I'm just going to check which. Do you know, I might just get a different book because this is just talking about somebody who's, I think they've died in like the war or something. So I'm going to run off and find a different book page. So hold on. Okay, so I've got some other book page now, which weirdly as it happens, this is actually a better size for the page anyway. So it's all worked out pretty good. Right, so I'm just having a look. I'm going to cut this down here. On this long side. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to then glue this in and then I will trim it down, I think. Or perhaps I'd be better off cutting it first. Perhaps I should cut it first. So just again going to just do that method where I just fold it in. I just think that's quite a nice way to get your guide. You know, it gives you something straightish to use as a guide, and also obviously, you know, it's telling you roughly how big you need your piece to be. So I'm just going to cut that down like that. Okay. And then it's just slightly too long for the page, so I'm just going to take a tiny bit off of the bottom there, like that. So let's just check which way round we want it. Okay, we're going to have it this way round, I think. So again, just going to now glue that down. Oh no, what was I saying about the glue issues? It's happening already. Uh-oh. Oh no. Okay. Oops. Okay. So the sun is shining here today. Again, I'm trying to get all these videos filmed before uploading any. So, you know, depending on how many videos there end up being, depends how long obviously it's going to take me to film these. I mean, obviously I've started them as soon as I could, you know, as soon as things got quite serious, and I thought it would be nice to do something together. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm filming ahead, you know, just in case kind of anything happens and I'm then out of action for a while. I didn't want to then have a series kind of half uploaded and half not. So I thought I'll film them all. So it may be that, you know, I'm saying, oh, it's lovely and sunny today. It might be that by the time this video goes up, it's absolutely hideous. If you're here in the UK watching, and, you know, you might be looking out the window thinking, what's she talking about? It's because on the days that I filmed this, it was beautiful. Okay. So that's that page. And should we mix it up and have another book page in here? Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with the decorative pages, because otherwise I feel like suddenly it's gone all book pagey. But I think we might mix it up and have some of the blue. Okay, so I think I will just do a blue one here. Again, just fold that in to know roughly, you know, the size to cut that down. Okay. Like that. So just take the very edge off. Okie doke. And just check that I've made that small enough. Might need to come in slightly more. Which is quite lucky because actually that was not particularly straight anyway, so there we go. Okay. Oh, might need to come in even more, you know. So I think what I might do is take it from the other side now. Now what I probably should do at this point is actually use this as a bit of a template for this side, shouldn't I? That's what most sensible people would probably do at this point. Perhaps I should do that. Okay, so let's just thinking perhaps we will have this as like a foldy piece actually. So if that's, well, actually what I can do if I'm having that as a foldy piece, I can just literally glue that down and then fold that afterwards, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, it's so tough sometimes making these decisions, isn't it? So there we go. Let's just run some glue there, like that. And I'm just sort of guessing roughly where I think that will be. And then just cover the entire envelope really. Like that. And obviously in the middle. Like that. Okay. What I should do actually is just open this out and then it can lay flatter, can't it? So, and I'm just going to pop that up, you know, pretty close to where that fold is, but hopefully not so close that it's going to then, you know, damage the paper every time it's folded. So just press that down with my card. Okay. So I've got a couple of sort of curly bits here which are resisting. So I'm just going to try and get them to stick down. If all else fails, I'll just use my hot glue, I think. Okay. So just really reinforce that down like that. So I've got a bit here that's a bit resistant. So again, I'm just going to take my hot glue rather than just dilly-dally for hours trying to get this to stick down. So there we go. I mean, hot glue definitely, it's great for sort of instant results, I think. So, okay, so that's that. Now I'm just going to fold this over here so that it's a, whoops, foldy flap thing. So again, just going as close as I can to that edge, really. Okay. Like that. Okay, so that's fine. Might need to just do a couple of bits there, but we'll see. So just make sure that's stuck down. Okay, and then we've got our other piece here that we're just going to pop down on there like that. Okay, so again, just apply some glue there. Oops, that's a piece from my hot glue gun that obviously was attached itself to my, you know, this tube of glue. So as I picked it up, it just flicked off onto the piece. So right, let's just squeeze that out. Oh. Come on. I've got the other tube of glue that I had got downstairs sat beside me, so if this starts playing up, I shall swap the nozzle again. It's just that that glue was quite cold, so I thought this one would be preferable for coming out, you know, working with, but maybe that it's not now, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Right, press this down like that. So again, you know, any tricky bits, just really squashing them down. Yeah, I mean, so to be fair, you know, in hindsight, you actually probably are better off with copy paper than your thicker papers for covering your envelopes, because obviously they're not going to be quite so curly and resistant to being glued in place. So, you know, they're probably going to be preferable. Right, got a little curly bit here, so I'm just again going to just run some of my wet glue there, hopefully get that piece to stick down. So okay, but I mean, obviously, you know, once your piece is finished, all these little curly bits are what makes it feel, you know, crunchy and vintage and, you know, uneven. I mean, if it were just a flat piece of paper, you know, it would just look like that, wouldn't it? Like we'd just popped to the shops and bought it. So, you know, don't be too deterred if your piece is turning out a little bit curly. You know, that's what gives it the character and the sort of yummy feel. Okay. So that bit now is all sort of coming together nicely and our folio is taking shape. Okay, so now that our basic piece is, you know, formed and kind of come together, we can start now decorating it and, you know, adding some pockets and various little bits and pieces to it. So, oops, have I now stuck that together? Right, okay. Okay, right. So we've got here a pocket as part of the kit. So I'm just going to cut this one out. Like that. Okie dokie. I think if I recall, yeah, there's actually two pockets, so I'm going to cut the other one out as well, just whilst we're doing that. Okay. Chop that down. Okay, so that's our two pockets that come as part of the kit. So I'm just going to fold the sides in like that and fold up the bottom of one of them. Okay, so again, I'm just going to sort of press them down really with my scissor handles. Like that. and then we'll have a look and see where we might like to place one of these pockets. Could have that one going there, to be honest. It's quite nice. Yeah, should we do that? Okay, so let's pop that one down there. Actually, just before I commit to that, yeah. Let me just quickly fold this one in. So, I mean, as you can see, they take like, you know, literally no time at all to just fold your sides in. Okay, and your bottom. So, and one of these is slightly wider than the other one. So I just wanted to see whether I thought this one might look better here than the other one. So hopefully I've got it squarish with my folding. So again, just press that down with your handles, with your scissors. Oh, and as you can see, what's possibly sliding into view, I've dug out some lace ready to use on this project. So I've got these white lace bundles, which I thought, again, might be really nice. I debated whether to coffee dye these and, you know, have it all looking really vintage and coffee dyed. I quite like the crisp white against these papers, but yeah, I'm interested to see what they would look like if they were coffee dyed, to be honest. Well, I mean, obviously I know what the lace would look like, but I just mean I would be interested to know what it would look like with the coffee dyed lace. I think either would look really pretty. I think I'm going to go with the white, but if you're crafting along and doing this and you use coffee dyed lace, I'd love to see any pictures of the finished project and see sort of how it compares, to be honest. Right, let's just check. Okay, so I might go for that pocket, I think, instead of that one. I mean, I really don't think it's, you know, making a great deal of difference. But, yeah, I think I will go for that. Now, just before I commit to that, I just want to check, you know, how I want my pockets organised. Because I've obviously got the other one. So I might have both the pockets on this side. So let's just go back to here. So maybe have that pocket. Yeah, maybe somewhere here, I think. Okay, right, let's just commit to this before I just faff around like for the whole day and don't make any sort of decision. So I'm just going to glue this one down. Okay. I'm just going to pop it here, so it's like over to the side a bit. I thought would be quite fun. Okay. Press that down. You know, you could always do a thumb hole there. I'm not going to bother, but, you know, that would look really cute, I think. Okay. So that's that pocket. And then this one, shall we have it there? Or I'm just wondering whether actually, I'm just having a look now through my rubbish that's on my desk, because I just then wondered whether, if we have an envelope, whether we would pop this on the envelope, because we're obviously going to make a lot of ephemera and things for in here as well. So perhaps I'll hold fire sticking this one down just in case I, you know, change my mind. Okay, so we've obviously got this page here. So I think what we'll do is pop some pockets and things like that on here. So I've got this one here. And actually what I might do is just make a belly band. Or I guess it could be just a pocket, actually. Well, a belly band might be quite nice. So again, I'm just going to fold that to give me a guide of where, you know, roughly where I need to cut that. And that was just, you know, one of our off-cut pieces from where we've obviously chopped it down from something else. Okie dokie. We're just going to pop that down there. So I just need to trim it down slightly more. Like that. Okay, so that looks good. Now what we could also do is have like a little foldy piece coming up from there. So let me just have a look and see whether we would use something that's actually from the ephemera part, or we could just use some plain coffee dyed paper. So let me just see what I've got here. I have to be careful because whilst I was trying to get the kit right, I obviously have printed double-sided, so yeah, I might not really be able to use my pieces because I might end up with other things showing, which wouldn't be quite so good. So I might have to just go for some coffee dyed paper, which, you know, that's absolutely fine too. So let me just reach behind me and get my coffee dyed paper in. I'm just rummaging through to try and find some that's a bit thicker. Oh, and would you believe I can't find any now? Oh, gosh. You see, you just think you're so organised and then it just goes out the window completely. Right, hold on. What's this? I had this piece laying there that was like ready folded, so I wonder if we could just use that. I mean, obviously it's quite wide, so I need to trim it down, but that's fine. So that was just like laying on the floor, would you believe, just to the side. Obviously it was meant for something originally, but who knows what. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to have it like that, I think, which is quite cool because obviously that covers up my impatient ironing mistake. So it works out well. Okay, so we're just going to glue that onto that little belly band piece. Okay. Okie dokie. So hopefully you can see what that is. It's just literally, you know, a little double fold like that. So, and again, what we could do is just round those corners, and then that makes that look more like it's meant to be there, if that makes sense. Like that. And we could do the same with this one. Okay. Right, so that's that like that. And then I wonder if that needs to come in slightly further still, actually. I don't want it obviously overhanging, so I might need to just take that down slightly more at the side. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is obviously just glue this on, you know, like a normal belly band piece. So just gluing either side like that. Okay. And we're just going to pop that down like that. Okay. So make sure that's pressed down nicely. Now at this point, I really can't wait to just get sticking some pieces on and some lace and all those goodies. But I'm thinking maybe we'll make the foundation first. Do all the, you know, the flips and what have you, and then embellish it. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the more sensible route, isn't it? So I'm going to really show some restraint and not decorate just yet. I'm saying that now. I might sort of come to the point where I just can't hold on any longer, but that's the plan for the moment. So I'm just going to turn that over. So now we've got obviously this page here, which again, let's just see what we want to do here. So my actual original thought was to have obviously a long pocket down the side here. So let me just see again what I've got left over. I've got that piece there, which we could use. I mean, actually that's quite good because it ties in that blue that you can see of that Tyvek and actually doesn't make it look really odd. It makes it almost like it's part of the pattern of the paper. So that's quite a good little thing there, isn't it? Or we could have it that side. Because I'm just thinking what I might do is obviously when I do come to using the lace, which something tells me that's going to be not too far away. We could either sort of put some lace down there, sort of covering that blue up a little bit. But obviously the lace would be quite nice on the outside. Or if we have it here, you know, would we have the lace like that? I think I'm going to put it down this side, you know. So this bit's really curly, which is very annoying, I must admit. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim it down slightly because it's quite, you know, it's quite wide on that page there. So I'm going to trim it down slightly. Or what I could do, oh, let's trim it down slightly. And I'm now thinking I might actually reinforce this by just popping this onto some book page or something. Oh, yeah, I might do that because it's not the thickest. So just pull that book page in. Okie dokie. And we just go around there like that. Okay. Come on. What I might do is, you know, if I can refrain from sticking the lace on today, what I might do is I've got some lace that's coffee dyed. It's downstairs, and I might just see how the coffee dyed lace looks before I commit to the white, because I don't want to go for the white and then wish that I'd used the coffee dyed. So I might just try it out and see how that would look. Okay, so I'm just going to go along here again on that curly sort of edge, like that. Okay, there we go. So I briefly spoke to my son just now, and I mean, I think he's waiting for final confirmation, but I think it's looking like he's going to be in lockdown as well, because you know, I mean, obviously it's not ideal going in a shared car, because the instruction is, you know, not to do things with people outside of your immediate family in your home, you know, who live in your home with you. So, I mean, being in a shared car, of course, that's not that 2 meters apart, is it? It's, you know, very close proximity. So, yeah, I think he's, you know, he's waiting to hear back, but at the moment, it's looking like he's also going to be in lockdown. And actually, as is the guy he's working with, because the work that they carry out is not like emergency work, it's more like your routine electrical stuff. Don't ask me what that stuff would be, because I have no idea when it comes to things like that, but you know, they're not like emergency call out people or anything like that. So it might be that actually his colleague is also effectively like on lockdown, you know, not really working because their work wouldn't be deemed as like essential work. You know, I mean, obviously the company, I guess, is split into, you know, what's like emergency, call out type work, domestic, commercial, all those kinds of different sections. So they're more like on the maintenance side, from what I understand, you know, not like emergency, like, I don't know, if your electrics were not working, I think. So, yeah, but he's waiting to have final confirmation, really. I think he's a bit conflicted in how he feels, because obviously, you know, he can see that it wasn't really that sensible going out with, you know, in the van kind of with his colleague. But, you know, equally, he quite likes working, and I don't think he's overly looking forward to the prospect of being just shut in with us for like 3 weeks to begin with, possibly longer. Yeah, so anyway, he's downstairs. He's doing some of his college work at the moment while he's waiting to hear back. So we'll see. Right, so we've got a pocket here, and obviously we've done these little bits in here. So probably want to put something on this side. Do we want to have something tucked out of that envelope? So what I'm thinking now is we could make an envelope. So again, let me just pull in. Now this is where I should have printed off more of those background pages. Okay, well, let's take this one. So I'm just going to move the folio out of the way. Now, obviously, I now have my beautiful new mat. So this mat has got these measurements on, which is awesome for someone like me who, you know, cannot be bothered, obviously, to get the tape measure out or, you know, do anything resembling measuring. So what I'm going to do is just fold that over at approximately the 6-inch mark, like that, and go along again to the 6-inch mark here. Okay, so that I'm just going to cut myself a 6x6 piece of paper to make a little envelope. Now, I'm not going to do the envelope on the punch board because, again, you know, I want this to be accessible for everybody, this project, and obviously not everybody has got a punch board. So we're just going to cut our 6x6. I mean, you know, give or take, obviously, depending on how my folding was. There we go. Okay, so that's our little 6x6 piece of paper. Now, we're just going to make an envelope. So I'm just having a look to see what bit would be nicest for like the flap. I mean, that would have been nice, but I think I'm not going to be able to get those pink flowers in anywhere. Oh, what a shame. Right, okay, well, in that case, what we'll do, we'll just take our little side bits in, I think. So all I'm doing is folding in my side bits, you know, for like your side parts of the envelope, like that. I mean, again, I'm very shoddy and just judging this very much by eye. I might regret that. Something tells me I should be regretting that because it's not going great so far. Okay, so I've got my little side bits of my envelope there. Just going to fold those in again with my scissor handle. And then we're going to just fold our bottom flap up like that. I don't know how straight that is, so I'm not going to press it in too hard in case that's like really horribly wonky, which I think this is. Oh, well, let's see how that looks. Hold on. Oh my gosh, what an awful envelope. What an awful envelope. So let's just try that again. So I think that needed to come in. Let's just have a look now. Oh, that's looking a bit better. It was very sorry for itself just now. Okay, so we're going to pop that there, and then we'll just fold our flap down, make sure it's resembling something, you know, along the lines of an envelope. Oops, not quite. Get in there, get in there. Okay, so that looks pretty good, sort of shape-wise. So just squash that in like that, all around. And then what you can do is unfold your envelope like that. And then you've got your little pieces that have overlapped. And you can just snip them off. You may want to go slightly further in so that it's not going to be like rubbing when the flap is folded over. So, you know, just go in slightly further than the fold mark, if that makes sense. Okay, a bit more there. Oh my gosh, just flicking things around all over the place. And then slightly more in that side as well. Okay, so that's those, and then that's your flap there. So I'm just going to take this one in slightly more, like that, and then slightly, I think, more on this side as well. Actually, that side might be okay, I think. Right, okay, so like that. And then, of course, you could just round this off so it's slightly more conventionally shaped like an envelope. So just going to bin those. Then you can obviously glue your envelope together. And this would be absolutely fine in your copy paper. You know, you don't need to be using the thick paper for this. I mean, I'm just using it because that's obviously what I've printed it on, but this would be, you know, really actually quite nice in the flimsy paper because it would have that lovely tactile sort of feel. Okay, so that's your envelope, and then what you could do is obviously just round your little end. Again, I mean, if you haven't got an envelope maker machine, just snip off the end like that, you know, until you're happy kind of with the shape of it. Okay, so I like how that looks. Oops, I probably could come in slightly here. So, I mean, just play around so as you get them as neat as you know, need it to be. But I mean, you'll probably find it's literally minuscule bits that need sort of trimming off, really. So that's my little envelope, and I had originally thought that that might be nice hooked over on the side like that. Now it's a bit unfortunate because, as you can see, my text now is completely upside down, so that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? I should have planned that better. I wonder if I should have it that side. Or we could maybe have it in here. It might not fit actually in there. Let's try it. Oh, it might fit, you know. Oh, wow, it does fit. So it's up to you really whether you want to glue that envelope in or whether you would just have that popped in. So I'm just going to leave it popped in for the moment while I have a think, you know, deciding whether I want it glued in or flipped in, popped in. Let me just check how we're doing time wise. Oh gosh, I can't really see again. The light is over there. Right. So let's do some other bits on here. Do you know what we could do is have a central pocket on here. So let me just cut out this from the ephemera pieces. Maybe that's not quite big enough, but having said that, we could always add like a little beach hut or something, couldn't we? Should we do that? Let's see how that would look. So obviously you've got your fussy cut pieces here in the form of, you know, flowers and beach huts. So just cut along those. I mean, the great thing is with these is obviously a bit like the birdhouses that I've got in my shop. They're dead easy to cut out, you know, really super cute, you know, fussy cuttable piece. But not too fussy, because they're just straight edges, which is just brilliant, you know. Makes it really nice and simple for cutting, doesn't it? Well, that's quite nice like that. Now, I'm just wondering whether I want to have some book page underneath there. Where did I put that? Okay. I'll just pull that back in. Just tear down a little strip. You know, we could have something like that, couldn't we? Let me just ink up that book page and see how that would look inked up. The lid on the glue before I have more glue issues. Okay. We were to have that there. And our little beach huts. Let me just see how that would look with a little bit of lace somewhere. So, I mean, again, obviously because, you know, we're locked in, which probably a lot of you are, if you can't get any lace or anything, you know, if you haven't got any lace, you know, have a look around the house, see if you've got some old curtains or tablecloth or maybe a top or, you know, even something like a little vest or something that you could just use some lace from. So if you're wanting to include the lace and you don't seem to have any, you know, just have a look around and see whether you could bring some in from something else. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm in need of a cup of tea, so I might take a break and I will be back after my cup of tea and perhaps I'll be a bit more revived then. Right guys, I am back. I didn't have a cup of tea, but I did have some water and things and, you know, hopefully kind of feeling a little bit more revived now. So I think what we're going to go for this. As you can see, I dug out a couple of vintage postage stamps. And I just laid these couple of bits of lace out because I just wanted to get a feel for, you know, how this was going to be evolving before I got, you know, too carried away sort of gluing things down. So we're just going to get on now and, you know, pop some of these bits down. So just popping this vintage book page here. Like that, and then we're going to have this here. Now I thought that postage stamp looked really nice there, and we've also got some of these lovely bunting pieces, and we also have some individual bunting flags. So I might just cut out a couple of those, and I might just cut out a couple of flowers. You know, I don't know whether I will use any of them, but let's just have them here ready to go. So just free those ones up. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out these little bunting pieces. I love bunting, it's so cute, isn't it? And again, I mean, it just conjures up like pretty happy, you know, nice times, sort of garden, springtime. Yeah, just nice happy feel to it. So you know, again, hopefully this is just a really nice feel-good kit that's just bringing a smile to people's faces. So I mean, again, you know, because I don't know how often we're going to get to the beach and things, you know. And I mean, some people obviously, they maybe don't live anywhere near a beach and probably don't get to go to the beach very often anyway, but hopefully, you know, memories of the beach and things just bring nice happy times back to mind for most people. So I thought this would be just something fun to do. So right, let's have a look here. Hold on. So if I were to have that there like that, now that flag I just thought was quite nice there. So is that really odd to have that flag just like as a piece of the bunting? I think it's kind of nice. I mean, it is a bit strange, but I think it's kind of cute. Kind of cute. What does everyone else think? Are you thinking, what is she talking about? What's going on? I like the bunting anyway, so let's just pop some of the bunting down. So like that. Oh, come on, glue. A whole different type of glue issue that is, when it's just dropping on you, isn't it? Okay. Unless I do have the postage stamp like more off to the side, and I could have like a flag over it. What do you reckon? Or perhaps more like that would be a more normal appearance. Oh, perhaps I'll do that. Okay. So again, just take that bunting piece. Oops. There we go. And then final one. Okay. Okie dokie, so press those down. Right, I'm going to just pop that postage stamp there. Might just ink that up a little bit. It is a vintage postage stamp, but it's not very discoloured, so we'll just make it look a little bit more discoloured, I think. You see, and straight away I had said, didn't I, oh, let's not get decorating and doing all those bits yet. And here I am decorating and doing the fun stuff. So I thought that probably wouldn't last very long, to be honest. I mean, we didn't even get through the whole video without touching on doing a bit of decorating, so I obviously could not restrain myself for long. I'm just going to cut out this one, just in case I prefer this. It's just a cute little hut, but it's got some bunting actually hung on it. So we'll just cut that one out. Oh, there's something so pretty about beach huts, aren't there? I know that there's some beach huts like on the beach, you know, near where we live, and some are really nice, some are obviously looking a little bit tatty, to be honest, but they probably have been in the family for years and, you know, presumably been like passed down for generations. I don't know, but they go for a really lot of money, because obviously you're not really buying the physical shed, you're buying, you know, the piece of land that it essentially sits on. I mean, I haven't seen one actually for sale for a really long time, to be honest, you know. Not that I've ever looked particularly for a beach hut, but I used to work for an estate agent, and we happened to sell a beach hut a couple of times whilst I was there during my time there. And this, you know, this was quite a long time ago now, because I mean, I haven't worked there for probably about 6 years, or yeah, probably about 6 years. So it certainly is over 6 years ago, and I don't think we'd sold those beach huts, you know, towards my coming to an end of working there. And they went for, I think it was like £20,000 or something, like really quite a lot of money. And, you know, that was then. So I'm guessing that they would be even more expensive now. So, yeah, they're definitely not cheap. You know, when you kind of think of like just a little shed, basically, but definitely not cheap. Not a cheap little shed at all. But I mean, I'm guessing, you know, you really could have a lot of nice times in a beach hut, couldn't you? I mean, if you had like £20,000 to spare, I guess. And, you know, to be fair, I mean, it would be, I suppose, like an investment that you would be able to pass down through your family. You know, and it would presumably continue to go up, you know. So it's not just, I guess, about the nice times, but, you know, you also, I guess, you've got an investment there. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, some are really pretty, some not so much. But again, I mean, like I say, that I guess is because, you know, they're just essentially, they're just a shed, aren't they? So some have been repainted and looked after really nicely, and some are needing a bit of looking after. Okay. So I quite like how that looks. I know we'd said we weren't going to add lace and bits and bobs, but to be honest, I just couldn't really help myself. So I could only restrain myself for so long. So I'm just going to pop this on there like that. Okay. Yeah, I very rarely actually see people using their beach huts, funnily enough. Whenever we're at the beach, you know, you don't really even very often see families using them. But when you do, just very occasionally, you know, they're normally having a nice cup of tea, or, you know, sometimes they might be having like a full-blown, not like a sit-down meal, I'm not meaning, but, you know, like a really nice-looking picnic maybe, you know, and obviously having a really lovely family time. So, yeah, they obviously, you know, they obviously are really quite an enjoyable thing to have if you're privileged enough to have that kind of money for such a splurgy indulgence, you know. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to have this lace, I think, kind of off more to the edge. So I'm just going to trim that down a bit. Oops. I'm just going to trim that in here. More like that, I think. Is that like a bit... Okay, I prefer it off to the side like that, I think. So Let me just check that that lace is up the right way. Yep. Okay. Like that. And then we'll just pop these down here like that. So again, I'm just going to use my hot glue because I haven't got any fabric glue at the moment. I did look on Amazon for some. It was out of stock, and then they seemed to get it back in, but it was really expensive. I guess because, again, lots of people are stocking up on things, but I couldn't then bring myself to pay it because it had gone up. Even the 3-in-1, it had gone up by about £5. You know, the exact same product that it said that I had bought just a few months ago. So yeah, I'll have to just wait a bit, and I would just make use of my hot glue. I love using my hot glue, so that's not a problem at all. Right, so that's that, and then I think I will just pop that little flower there. It looks cute, doesn't it? Okay, so I have obviously lost track completely out of, how long this video's been running for, because I've obviously stopped it a couple of times. But we'll probably call it quits there for today. I'm so sorry when I shake the table. I hope it doesn't really shake the camera too much. But we'll call it quits there for this video. Again, I don't know whether I will start uploading more than one per day. It really depends kind of how the crafting thing goes. I don't know whether I'll be crafting more or whether I will be crafting less during this lockdown. Just depends, I guess, on, the kids and how bored they are, how good at entertaining themselves they are, how sick of the sight of me they are, and things like that. So, yeah, I will call it quits for this video, and then I will see you in the next one. So thank you very much for joining me, and have a fun, safe day. Thanks, En. Bye.